Welcome everybody to the DC New 52 review. I want to thank you for tuning into this episode. I am your host, Pauly DC, and let's get into another one of these things. Today, I will review Batman Vol.1. It was titled The Court of the Owls, and it was written by Scott Snyder with art by Greg Capullo and Jonathan Glapion, with the first 7 issues being released between November 2011 to May of 2012. Let me just start with this. The Caped Crusader is him. Also known as Bruce Wayne, he is by far DC's most marketable hero, a top 5 comic book character ever, and he has made countless contributions to the pop culture zeitgeist. Bruce lost his parents as a child at the hands of street thug Joe Chill in an origin that has remained untouched since his debut in Detective Comics number 27, May 1939 by Bill Finger and Bob Kane. After becoming the Dark Knight, he has garnered acclaimed stories by a plethora of talent, giving him a rogues gallery for the ages and a family of bat allies that have helped put money in DC's pockets for nearly 90 years now. Issue number 1 begins with the start of award-winning Batman narration, first speaking about a Gotham Gazette article asking people to answer the question, what is Gotham in a single word? Good luck. We then get many early cameos from Batman's rogues gallery due to a breakout in Arkham Asylum, so he gets to work kicking some major ass from Two-Face and Killer Croc to Mr. Freeze and Sumo. But a bit of assistance is required, resulting in the Joker showing up with nods to Heath Ledger. Talk about a page turner 10 seconds in. These two go on to fight the other villains and stop the breakout, later explained to Commissioner Gordon as an issue caused by a guard named Matthews, but Batman knew it was coming due to an insider. Even later that night in the Batcave, just look at that art too, the Joker is actually revealed to be Nightwing Dick Grayson in a high-tech mask, and he interrupts Bruce downloading the powerful Batcomputer mainframe onto a new eye-lens system. That's not insanely obsessive or anything, right? The two men then head upstairs to meet with current Robin and son to Mr. Wayne, Damian, alongside Red Robin, Tim Drake. Bruce then tests his new visual tech on the boys, allowing Damian to continue his competitive dislikement with Tim, getting in a rather good joke, but more importantly, a chance for me to address the oh-so-fun continuity stuff. Bruce's tech said that Red Robin already established the Teen Titans, but that happened way after Joker lost his face in Detective Comics number 1, so him being in Arkham didn't add up. Plus, at this time, Grayson was dealing with Haley Circus and hot evil redheads. How did he have time to go undercover as the Joker in Arkham exactly? I don't know, and I don't care. The 4 gentlemen next head to a massive gala hosted by Wayne Enterprises, wherein Bruce gets right to business, revealing his company is aggressively pursuing a new Gotham City expansion project, which goes on to be a big subplot across quite a few Bat Family titles. After this announcement garners an enthusiastic response, Bruce is formally introduced to a mayoral candidate named Lincoln March thanks to Gazette reporter Vicky Vale, who debuted back in Batman number 49, October 1948 by Bill and Bob. As for Lincoln, he looks quite similar to Bruce, albeit with a more Captain Stern chin from Heavy Metal. Considering his name is Lincoln too, along with Capullo's admiration for that music genre, that could be the inspiration here. The two men quickly discuss joining in support of the other, but after overhearing Jim getting a report, Batman is on a murder scene with Detective Harvey Bullock, who disses our main character 4 seconds in. Nothing new. The victim the duo then look at is dead from throwing daggers and have owl crests on the handles, and when Batman runs DNA on one of the stiff's fingernails, a sweating Alfred Pennyworth reports back that it's Dick's. Not only that, but a secret message is also discovered above the corpse, stating that Bruce Wayne dies tomorrow. And while looking at this, Bullock gives his apt word for the Gazette's "What is Gotham?" question. Issue number 2 opens on sunrise in Gotham with Bruce telling us about Old Wayne Tower built in 1888 by great-great-grandfather Allen, who installed special gargoyle statues around the upper ledges to represent watchers of the city, along with special glass windows that Bruce Wayne is next seen being kicked through, falling to certain death. Things then back up to 24 hours earlier, with Batman first dealing with a low-tier group of Goomba art thieves who quickly find out that playing chicken with him is a horrendous idea, and then he heads to a morgue to meet up with Commish Gordon to look over the Owl Knife homicide victim who they can't ID. The two do find out that he was a fight trainer though, and then Batman spots an odd tooth the guy had, which contains an owl logo similar to the knives that killed him. This cues Jim to recite the old Court of Owls nursery rhyme that Bullock also briefly mentioned last issue before Batman cut him off due to having no interest in them, saying they're nothing but a legend. Are you sure about that? I also like how Gordon said Bruce Wayne denied police protection and asks if Batman is keeping an eye on him. Yeah, you sure as hell could say he is. Over in the Batcave, Nightwing is there being told about Batman's recent findings, and it's found out why his DNA was on the victim via a strange meeting the two had a week earlier where the guy found Dick at a function and warned him that they are real, everywhere, and coming for him. That interaction will make more sense by the end of this volume. Nightwing then reminds Bruce that he supposedly only has 12 hours left to live, so what does he do? Heads over to Old Wayne Tower to meet with Lincoln so they can discuss mutually benefiting each other's aspirations, and also for Mr. March to mention that he also lost his parents at a young age, with his most vivid memory being a heart pendant pin that he made for his mother. Things then get very intense right after Lincoln tries to mention a powerful evil is returning, as an owl-dressed assassin dubbed the Talon breaches the tower, killing guards, badly wounding Lincoln with a throwing knife, and then attacking Bruce with more knives. The two then crash out the window, returning us to page 1, but home field advantage does have its perks since Bruce is able to save himself thanks to a special gargoyle statue added to a spot on the building years later by his great-grandfather Henry. See how Snyder makes all his script work important here. Anywho, the Talon winds up plummeting to the street where EMTs are seen recovering the mangled body. However, minutes later, he's somehow alive again, goes on to claim a couple more victims, and is ready to try and kill another Wayne again. Issue number 3 first takes us back to 1922, the time of Alan Wayne's death, seen here in his winter years shambling among Gotham streets, ranting about those who are after him having nests everywhere. And right when some cops try to help, old Alan plummets down an open sewer hole. Yikes. Jumping back to the present, Batman is in the underground railways because of the Talon accessing Old Wayne Tower in subterranean manner, and he's about to question Luca Volk, a leader in the Whisper Gang. These guys are hardened goons who wear iron masks to look extra intimidating, but after a great fight scene, Batman thwarts them with nothing more than a powerful magnet, only to then get zero info from Luca. Alright then. Later on in the Batcave, Bruce is with Alfred, who I'll mention now has been around since the mid-1940s, but wasn't everyone's favorite butler until a few decades later, and here they now start discussing owls with apparent documentation saying Alan Wayne developed serious paranoia toward the birds near the end of his life. Pennyworth then suggests that Master Bruce gets some sunlight, so he goes out to see Lincoln in hospital bed, wherein their discussion eventually finds its way to the Court of Owls and how they may want Bruce now because of his Gotham rebuild. The most important thing said is March stating that the boy's home he was raised in nearly sank into a quarry beneath it, meaning danger can always be right beneath your feet. This clues Batman into having Alfred search up every building the Waynes have built while explaining to us what 13th level ghost floors are for architects and builders that put them between the 12th and 14th. Why should we know this? Well, because every structure a Wayne has built going back to the 1890s contains a Court of Owls nest, secret hideouts where the Talons would roost, and Batman goes about finding all of them, also dropping an owl fact along the way. They are extremely fascinating birds. I've had one living near my backyard for nearly 9 years now and have been looking into them ever since. Anyway, when at his final location, Batman finds the whole place being blown up by a trap as the Talon watches from across the street. Issue number 4 starts off with Batman barely escaping the Talon Nest tripwire trap he set off, and finally giving the Court of Owls some actual acknowledgement as a powerful group that has run Gotham since colonial times, all enforced by their talons. That's definitely something I think you should think about considering. Grayson next pays Bruce a visit in the Batcave, where Alfred admits to drugging his boss in order to get him to rest sometimes. Apparently, that can't even keep him down though, as Dick catches his current autopsy on Alan Wayne's skeleton. Bruce still seems skeptical that the Court of Owls truly 100% exists, but his first protege can't help but point out that his whole case with them is becoming highly unusual and possessive, even though he was just there to say farewell before catching a plane. The one he asked for him and Rhea to use during Nightwing Vol.1, I think. Bruce decides to now tell Dick about an early childhood story, obviously a traumatic one staying on Bat brand, but anyhow, it involved young Bruce's conspiracy that the Court of Owls had a hand in his parents' death and his subsequent investigation, the first ever in his detective career. The search eventually brought him to a derelict place called Harbor House, christened with an owl and everything, but once the most hidden meeting room was located, nothing was found. Except Bruce did get locked inside for a week, slipping into a coma and nearly dying. Damn! Also, the brisk art style change from this scene to the others, kudos to the team here. Grayson takes off while Batman skips a meeting with Commish Gordon so he can instead check out the murder scene of Alan Wayne, which I say now because Batman has found evidence that he was stabbed to death. Also, certain fragments of marble on Alan's bones were found, taking him to another part of the sewer system where the Talon is waiting to ambush him, snatching his utility belt and crashing him down into the Court of Owls labyrinth maze. Issue number 5 is a total psychological nightmare, even for the Dark Knight. To begin with, Commish Gordon and Bullock hang around the bat signal saying Batman has been missing for over a week, which of course set off rescue efforts from Nightwing, Robin, and Batgirl, while Catwoman just seems upset that there's no other action lately. Wink wink. And I like how Batwing is shown here. I'm sure he wants to help, but my man is in Africa. Not much he can do. A bit later though, after so much time of the signal being on continuously, it burns out and catches on fire, causing Robin to sadly plea for it to be replaced. The rest of the issue takes place in the Court of Owls labyrinth, with Batman hiding in the shadows, sort of looking like he's still in control of his sanity and the situation, but that all unravels very fast as he suddenly finds himself at the court's grand water fountain. Meaning no progress was made in the maze, and this time due to thirst, he has to drink some of the drugged water. Batman then tries to return back to the darkness, however his next forced location is a haunting photo gallery where pictures of court victims are taken and hung up, as Batman discovers this personally. So he smashes the camera and returns to the maze where the hallucinations start to kick in tenfold, thus really losing him grip on things. He stumbles into a room with a grim mural next containing names of those the Court of Owls have killed, from a cane to a cobblepot, along with a marble model of Gotham on the floor. This is followed up by a visit to the crypt of the past Talons, and it is found that one of them has been recently opened up, and this seems to finally convince Batman in rather raging fashion that this group is for real. The circle of mental tortures then continues as our caped crusader returns to the photo room for another picture, and this time visions of his decrepit parents, because of them basically being mandatorily present when Bruce is having psychological trauma, with here things getting really horrifying in haste manner when owls begin to claw out of Ma and Pa Wayne's throats, followed by Batman thinking he's morphing into an owl, spurring his breaking point with a harrowing scream, only for it to be silenced by a stab in the back from the Talon that's been stalking him through the maze like the Minotaur. Issue number 6 kicks off with the Court of Owls sentencing Batman to die, but before Talon finishes the job, he lets him crawl around a bloody mess and then presents his half-dead body to the masters of the court, while saying that his bones will be displayed, something done to only 3 others in the entire court's history. Wow, what an honor. Talon goes on to ask how Batman shall die now, and the decision is left up to the youngest member, a literal child who wants to see him hurt some more first. Big yikes. Now, I know this is Batman, but sheesh, does he take a beating here. Talon at one point beats him through a friggin' marble wall. This has left Batman at the mercy of all the Court of Owls members, seen as actual ravenous birds to him now. However, a tearful look at pictures of Alan Wayne's final time in the labyrinth somehow sets the Dark Knight into mega dark Bat Monster mode. With this jolt of last-second power displayed, Talon comes in for round 2, where this time he ends up getting bashed through a marble wall. How does it feel, man? The fight then continues among the court's model of Gotham, with Batman finally giving Talon a proper ass-kicking, and then concludes with him using one of his foe's blades to strike a filament plate from the old camera, causing a spark and explosion, blowing a hole in the floor which Batman escapes to the cave systems underneath Gotham from. Except he can't seem to find his way back to the surface. Shit. I couldn't find an answer I'm 100% behind for how the filament thing worked from the busted camera, but that kinda clever detail was an effortless staple of Snyder's writing. On the last page, a very old member of the COO gets wheeled in and is quick to kick the beaten down Talon into Batman's escape hole, only because she's ready to release dozens more of them, ushering in the soon-to-be Night of the Owls. Issue number 7 is the last one in this volume, opening on a throwback to when Bruce was understanding that his father wanted him to become a bat. Good thing a fly or mosquito didn't cross his path, but in symbolic manner for what's already happened here and what's soon to come, an owl suddenly attacks and kills the bat. Batman next awakens to freaking jumper cables on his freaking nipples so he can be half-assed defibrillated by a young Gotham teen named Harper Row, who seems to have already met our titular hero since he angrily tells her to leave him alone. We'll be seeing a lot more of Miss Row. Batman has to then stumble and crawl to a secret Batcave entrance where he's greeted by a shotgun-toting Alfred, and once back home he nearly craps his bat briefs after seeing Talon. Thankfully for him though, the body is restrained and nearly lifeless due to being recovered by Bat allies earlier on. So, Bruce gets right on analyzing his latest enemy, but is interrupted by Nightwing, who is told that the Talons have a special isotope in their cells which can reanimate tissue with help from an alloy called Electrum. That can be conducted through a special tooth the Talon had, just like the nameless victim from earlier. The big reveal comes next though, as Dick is told that the Talon is William Cobb, his great-grandfather. He really doesn't seem to care all that much though that a vicious killer was in the family, and is more pissed that Bruce had planned to keep everything secret from him. Now, the next scene of Grayson getting perfectly backhanded resulting in a lost tooth was also drawn in similar fashion in Nightwing Vol.1, because that title's first story involved him returning to Haley's circus where dark secrets were uncovered, involving a book of names Dick found, with one of them being William Cobb and his own. Bruce then gives some clarity to all this, saying that every generation Haley's would present crops of children to the Court of Owls for Talon recruitment, as if circuses already didn't have an uneasy vibe to them. After his owl tooth is then shown to him, Nightwing is still undeterred and even offers some advice, which he'll surely need a lot more of, because one by one all the Talons are awakened, armored up, and cast onto Gotham, bringing us to the Night of the Owls. Alright. Beginning with plot, I'll get this out of the way early. Since the Batman title sort of tied the whole family of Bat series together, continuity was damned once you looked over all of them. Upon close scrutiny, so many micro details showed me so much that I don't even think that Eratosthenes or Archimedes could have worked out this entire timeline. Now for what matters. Obviously DC expects nothing but the best from Batman writers, and oh my lord, did Snyder deliver. He turned out a familiar yet fresh Gotham that feels more like its own entity. Flesh, blood, and pulsing. The Court of Owls were a new foe for the ages, and a perfect opening one that added a feverish, even frightening effect. Honestly, if I had to recommend a place to start in the New 52 anywhere, right here. For the art next, Greg Capullo fans know him best from being a prominent artist on Spawn Comics. However, he was born to draw Batman stuff. He, along with Jonathan Glapion and Fico, they handled all the art for this title, and it seriously only got better. Just wait until the 0 Year stories. The writing was the brains and body, but this consistently tremendous artwork provided a heart and soul. The sections of Gotham portrayed among night and day, along with the unique antiquity look of the Court of Owls layers, fit the tone perfect. Just wait until Volume 2, The Night of Owls, when you start to see all the cool designs for the Talons. And then, effortlessly, we were treated to some horror and thriller scenes throughout. Just wait until Death of the Family. Wrapping up with dialogue, since this was my first book read by Scott Snyder, I now know this is just another solid notch in his resume. It's his writing style 101. The suspenseful pacing, familiar sounding everyday conversations between characters, and of course, the best part, the way he inserts facts and knowledge into the script, yet it always stays relevant to the plot. Seriously, you feel like you're ready for an episode of Jeopardy with all the stuff learned from reading his work. That will conclude this review, and if you have watched until the end here, I want to personally thank you for that, and to please like, share, and subscribe. Please follow me on all my social media platforms, and to please join me next time for All-Star Western Volume 2.